The Agweek Market Wrap is sponsored by Gateway Building Systems.
Welcome to the Agweek Market Wrap, brought to you by Gateway Building Systems. I'm Don Wick with the Red River Farm Network, and as always, we're joined by Randy Martinson from Martinson Ag Risk Management. Actually, catching Randy in Chicago this week. Great to see. Lots of news happening, Randy, with what's happening overseas with Russia, Ukraine, Turkey, and the United Nations. A deal announced here at the end of the week. What significance does that have for the marketplace?
Well, quite a significance, especially for the wheat side. And you could see wheat as soon as the announcement came out Thursday, at just before the close, how wheat dropped pretty hard, and it spilled over into, of course, the overnight session and into Friday, causing some pretty hefty losses in wheat. And it's going to, if it follows through, and we do see both Russia and Ukraine abiding by the rules, we are going to see some grain start to come out of this area, and it will help supply the world. Now, it's not that we didn't expect this, so I think what we're seeing is kind of a knee-jerk reaction to what we already knew would happen at some place, and that is the exports coming out of Ukraine. They can't hold all the grain, and they can't hold it forever. We knew it was going to come to the market. So I think the market was looking for an excuse to kind of pull some more air out of the market.
Well, obviously, there's been is a very chaotic situation, what's going on in Ukraine with the war that continues. Russia has been advancing in some parts of Ukraine as well. That has to make you a bit skeptical on how this moves forward.
That's exactly right. I mean, we've seen the pictures of them burning the wheat fields, where you see that they're still continuing to attack certain regions. It's going to be interesting how Ukraine will trust what Russia is going to do here to follow this through. But the truth will be in the actions, and then we'll see going forward just how this works. But it's in everybody's best interest that this deal works too, because Ukraine needs to move the grain, and Russia would like to be able to move its grain and its fertilizer, which this is going to help them to be able to ship both those products.
When you take a look at what's going on in the world market, how competitive is the U.S. right now with the value of the U.S. dollar?
We're kind of out of value right now. I mean, we were starting to see our wheat come in pretty much in good graces. I mean, we were starting to get some bids, and we were starting to move some wheat here last week, 2 weeks ago. We didn't see very good sales last week. So our dollar is kind of pricing us out of it. Also, just the fact that our shipping costs are a little bit higher too. So that kind of keeps us out of being competitive in the world market. Now, of course, you see with the real dropping, and then we're seeing South America become a little more competitive in the corn and soybean market. That's traditionally, we start to see that swing about this time frame. Pretty soon, we will start to get a little bit more of the better advantage. The fact that Egypt has lowered their acceptable protein levels for wheat, I think will help bring the U.S. into a little bit more of being able to bid and be competitive.
Next week, the week ahead, we've got the Wheat Quality Council Spring Wheat and Durum Tour traveling across North Dakota and the border states a bit as well. Certainly, we started this crop late. I'm guessing there's going to be a lot of interest in this year's tour.
It's interesting because, here in Chicago, I was at a meeting yesterday, and there's a lot of people asking about our wheat crop and how things are looking and how it's going to fare. I think there's going to be a lot of interest. We know the winter wheat crop wasn't very big as far as production was concerned. It was good quality. Now they're going to wonder what's going to happen up here in spring wheat country. So I do think that will help set the tone for wheat next week.
Just being out and about this week, it does seem like we're still behind, but that crop has gone a long way in catching up with some of the heat units that we have had. So that's I think positive from a grower's perspective. Heat has obviously been in the news this week on a national front. What's the weather story as we go into the week ahead?
That's a really good question, because right now, here in Chicago, we were expected to get rains yesterday. It's hot. It's really hot. We're looking at 95 degrees. There were supposed to be rains now yesterday and the next couple of days. Those rains are pulled out of the forecast now. So we are starting there, and the guys in the meeting yesterday were talking about possibility. The crop is going a little bit backwards, but next week, when you look at the 6 to 10, we are calling for cooler, wetter conditions, and that's what everybody's kind of hanging their hat on to help this crop out. whether or not we get it, it gets develops and comes to, and we actually see it, it'll be another thing. But we're still in a weather market, and that's still going to kind of be the main driver here of this market.
When I look at the weather, it kind of moves into that cattle story as well. It still seems with the drought, we have moved a lot of cattle and continue to do so. Volume still seem pretty heavy for this time of year. A lot of culls and everything else coming to market.
Yeah, that is true, and you know that's been keeping the fat cattle market a little bit alive. You know, the fact that we're being able to see the heat, we've seen the slaughter weights decrease. We've got a couple of major reports coming out for cattle on Friday. They got the cattle on feed report, which looks to be friendly. We got the cattle inventory, semi-cattle inventory report, which will likely confirm just what you're talking about, and that is herd reduction.
Well, a lot going on. We appreciate the chance to connect with you, Randy.
All right, thank you.
You bet. Randy Martinson with us from Martinson Ag Risk Management. Of course, for markets and market analysis, you can always tune into your Red River Farm Network radio affiliate or find your information online with rrfn.com. The Agweek Market Wrap brought to you by Gateway Building Systems.